chapters. So we know that functions will be having 3 elements, or we can tell it as function name. What all information we'll be giving to the compiler? We'll be giving the function name. We'll be indicating what data type of the return value, data type of the arguments which are passed in the parentheses when the function is called. These are the things which we will be informing the compiler when you declare a function in the declaration section. Okay. So now, when we pass the arguments, there are 2 ways of passing the arguments. There are 2 ways of passing arguments to a function call. Listen here, there are 2 ways for passing arguments or parameters. Arguments are also known as parameters, right? We studied 2 types of arguments, the name of 2 types of arguments, that is actual argument and formal argument. Now I am telling we can pass arguments in 2 ways. Got it? In a function call, we will be passing arguments, right? So those functions which are passing arguments can pass arguments or parameters in 2 ways. The first way is known as call by value. The second one is known as call by reference. It's an important topic and it used to be there. And you have to understand the concept. I'll be repeating it again in the pointers chapter. Okay. So these 2 types of function calls are known as call by value and call by reference. So in call by value, a copy of the actual arguments. So first we should remember what is actual arguments. What is actual argument? We have studied that the arguments which we are giving in the called function. So from main, if you are calling, so that calling function, in the calling function, when we call a function, what arguments we are passing in the function call? What arguments we are passing in the function call is known as actual arguments. And the arguments which are accepted in the function definition is known as the formal arguments that we studied already. So in call by value, what we are doing is we will make a duplicate copy. We will make a copy of the arguments. We'll make a copy of the arguments and it is passed as a formal arguments. So we are making a duplicate copy. So when we are making a duplicate copy, this copy is allocated a different address location. I'll show you with the animation. Then I tried somewhat, okay, now that animation. So I'll, if board was there, we can easily show, but I have tried in PPT now. So when we are using call by value, a copy, so one duplicate copy is created and a different address location is allocated for the formal arguments. You know that in formal arguments, we will be passing the arguments, formal arguments will be along with the function header, right? In function header, you might have seen in the function declaration. So the copy of the actual arguments is passed and it will be stored in a different address location. But in call by reference, the location address, how to pass address of a variable, how to pass or what is referring the address of a variable. I have told you when we are using scanf, in scanf we will be using ampersand symbol. Ampersand indicates the address of the variable. So when we accept something through scanf function, the value will be stored directly at the address of the variable, right? So in call by reference, listen here, in call by reference, that this type of function call will be giving the address of the actual arguments. So this is the major difference. Here we will be giving a copy of the actual arguments, while in call by reference, address of the actual argument is passed to the formal arguments. Is it clear? So I will explain with an example, but for the time being, for the definition, you have to understand that call by value, a copy of the actual argument. In call by reference, location or the address of the actual argument. Both we are passing actual argument to the formal arguments. That is correct only. Here also actual arguments are passed to the formal arguments. But here a duplicate copy of the actual argument is passed, while here an address of the actual argument is passed. So what happened now? If we are passing a copy, what will happen? The changes what we make in the function will be reflected only in the copy. Listen here, the changes what we do in the function call. All this we are telling about the function call, right? All the changes will be made in the duplicate copy. Actual copy remains unaffected. But in call by reference, what will happen? Actual address only we are passing. In the address, what will happen now? In the address, if we pass, the only copy is accessed by the function. So the value will be directly changed, or the actual arguments also will be changed. The only one copy is there that is changed because we are passing the address in the call by reference. Got it? So whatever changes we do in the function call, if you pass by call by reference, will be changing the initial value or the only copy which is there. But in actual arguments, there is a duplicate copy. So only in the duplicate copy, the changes will be reflected. Actual copy will remain unaffected. Got it? So when we call a function, it is going away from the main, right? So the value also, that actual arguments which we are using is made as a local copy, and in that local copy the changes are made when we are making a call by value. So write in your own words, in call by value a copy of actual arguments is passed and the changes are made only in the copy, while in call by reference the address of the actual argument is passed, and whatever changes are made, it will also be affecting the actual arguments, or it will be changing the actual argument. Here there is no change for the actual arguments, only the copy which is given to the formal arguments will be changed. Here in call by reference, whatever changes we make to formal arguments will be reflected in the actual arguments. I have given it this in the form of a table at the end of this example. So here what is a program? I'm going to explain a program which will be making use of a function called call by value. So here this program is for swapping the values. What is the meaning of swapping? Interchanging, right? So I'll be using a program in order to swap the values of two variables. I will do it in using a don't write the previous program. Somebody might have taken screenshot also. Now I'll explain. Now don't start writing now. G1. Now call by value. In call by value, as for any other function, we will be making a function name, right? So in this function, I am giving a name as swap by value. What is the name of the function? Swap by value. There are two types of function calls, right? Or the way in which we are passing the arguments. The one is known as call by value. So in order to demonstrate the call by value, I'm using a function called swap by value. My aim of this program is to swap the values of two variables A and B. So now I declared the function which I'm going to use in the declaration section. I'm moving on to the main. In main, I'm going to declare two variables called A and B. Listen, A and B, both are integer data type, and I'm allocating a variable value 10 and 20. So A is allocated 10 and B is allocated 20. Now, we are just printing a statement program using call by value. After that, we are printing the values of A and B before swapping. You know, after swapping, what is our aim of the program? In order to swap the values of A and B. But if we are doing by using the call by value, how it will be? We will be just seeing it. So if you are doing a swapping of values using a function call which is taking call by value, what will be the ultimate result? So we are just printing before swapping what will be the values of A and B. You know, value of A is 10 and value of B is 20. So it will be just printing before swapping the values are A equal to 10 and B equal to 20. Now we are calling the function called swap by value. Listen here, we are going to call as usual because the usual function call what we are doing, You will be declaring the function, you will be calling the function. As we have indicated the return data type as void, we don't have any return. We are not assigning the function to any of the variable, and we are indicating that we need the function swap by value need two integer arguments. We are giving two integer arguments a and b, right? We are calling as any other normal function, but the name of the function I just gave it as swap by value. You can give any name. That is, you can reduce the length of the name also. In order to understand, I just gave swap by value. Now, when we call this function, what will happen? It will move towards the definition of the function. The program control will be jumping from this line to this line. So we know that definition of the swap by value is given in a different area, not in the mean. So now when we are calling the swap by value, here I am using a local variable called temp. So when I'm calling a function called swap by value, and I'm passing the formal arguments, formal arguments integer a and b, a local copy of the variables a and b is made in a different address location, and a copy of or the value of a, which is 10, is directly assigned to this variable, and value of b is directly assigned to the variable b or the address location of b. Understood? It's this you have to understand that even if you use another variable n1 and 2, I had written the program with another variable, then I thought you will be thinking that it is because another variable is used, it is having address location different. Even if you are using the same variable name, it will be in a different address location, because we are using the function call in which we are using a really different space or address location, not with the location or the address which is shared by main function. Understood? In each function call, each function call will be allocated a memory allocation, and in that we will be declaring the variables, local variables. Okay, so a duplicate copy of the variable. If you want to make it as n1 and n2 or any other xy, you can do it. But only thing is you will be having a duplicate value, or you will have the value of the actual arguments copied. Got it? So it is just 10 means a value will be 10 directly, actual argument value will be assigned to the formal arguments. Understood? Now we are going to declare a variable called temp. For that, another address location, local variable, right? Temp. You can use any variable name, t, or just to have one temporary area to hold the values of a and b while swapping the values. What is the meaning of swapping of values? Can anyone tell? If I want to swap the value of a and b, what is the
Interchanging the values.
value? Interchanging of value. You know that a will be assigned 20 and b will be assigned 10. But only thing is, if you just assign a equal to b, what will happen? A equal to b means we are assigning a value to, no, b value to a means it will overwrite the value of a. Understood? So what we have to do, we have to keep a temporary variable. Then we will be first, what we will be doing, I'll just show it over here. What we will be doing is, I'll make it understanding. I think many tricky questions you might have seen, right? How to transfer milk from one bottle, such questions you might have seen, I think, right? So we will be using a temporary location. I'm just using a variable called a temp. And in this address location, what I'm going to do is, this is also allocated a memory, right? So what I will be doing is, first I will make a duplicate copy for a. So I will be making temp equal to a, because temp is empty. We will be just overwriting the value, or we will copy the value of a to temp. So what will happen now? We will have in temp the value of a, right? Now what I will do is, I will copy the value of, or I will assign a equal to b. Now if I do a equal to b, what it will do? It will overwrite 10 with 20. But no need of getting worried, because we have a duplicate copy of a in the variable called temp, right? Now what in the next step, what I will do? I will copy b equal to temp. So I will be copying the value 10. It will overwrite the value of 20 over here. So now what ultimately what happened? Now A is equal to 20 and B equal to 10. Understood? This is called swapping, right? So we are using a separate variable in order to swap the values of A and B. Is it clear? So this is what we are going to do, but it is not in the actual value. We are going to do it in a copy of this value which were used in the main. So we are bringing a copy of this A value and B value. A value and B value which is there in the main is remaining intact. We are making a duplicate copy and we are using it over here. So this is another duplicate copy of A and B. Listen, this is a duplicate copy of value A and B. So here also we have 10, here also we have 20. This is accessible only in the function called swap by value. Understood? Now what I am going to do? Now what I am going to do is, after making a duplicate copy, I am using a temporary variable called temp. Now I am copying the value of A to temp. Actually, when we copy the value of A to temp, this value of A will be there, but I am just showing it is not there now. We copied the value of A to temp. So now we have a duplicate value or we are storing the value of A in a variable called temp. Now in the next step, what I will do? So here you see, whatever you do, that you can just convert into a program. Into temp, we are copying the value of A. So temp equal to A. What is the next step? A equal to B. So what will happen now? We are, whatever value was there in B, I'm just copying it to A, right? So now A equal to B, right? Now in the next step, what I should do? From temp, I should copy it to B, right? This was the initial value of A, which I have kept reserved over here without overwriting. That I will copy back to B. So what we will write now? B equal to temp, right? B equal to temp. So ultimately what happened now? We swap the values of A and B, right? We swap the values of A and B. In the original copy, it was A equal to 10 and B equal to 20. But in the duplicate copy in swap by value function, or the memory area used by swap by value, we have A equal to 20 and B equal to 10. Understood? So now what we are doing is, we are returning the control back to the program. We don't have any return value. When we encounter the bracket, closing bracket, we will move on, or the program control will be moving back to the program. Listen here, we are not returning any value, right? We are just moving the control back to the program. Now, I'm using another printer, value after swapping of A and B. So, A value, what will be the A value and what will be the B value, right? As I told before, when we are using the A and B value in the function call, it is a duplicate copy and we are not using the same address location which was used by the main memory, right? Main function. This is the area which is used by main, and this is the area which is used by the function called swap by value. We made a duplicate copy, we interchange the value or swap the values of A and B, but we are not returning the new value of A and B back to the main program. Listen here, we are not using any return value, we are just using a void, and we can't use or we can't return two values that we studied already, right? We cannot return A, return B, only as A plus B, or evaluated expressions we can pass. Only single value we can pass, right? So we are not returning also, we gave the return data type as void, right? So what will happen when we are printing the values of A and B after swapping? Can anybody tell? Can anyone tell what will be the value printed for A and B after swapping? This is before swapping, this is after swapping. Can anyone tell? Or
A will be 20 and B will be 10.
No.
10, ma'am.
That's what I was keeping on repeating. We are not returning the value of A and B. Listen, here it is void. Understood? Whatever happened in this function, if you are printing over here, if this statement, printf statement, if you are given in the swap by value, then you might have seen A equal to 20 and B equal to 10. Understood? After swapping, the values are 20 and 10. But as the control is moving back to the main and printing the values, here it will be printing only the values of the variables which are used over here. Understood? A value will be 10 and B value will be 20 itself. All are in confusion. As we are not returning, listen here, values are not interchanged. Understood? Then why we call the function, you may be thinking. I'm just demonstrating the passing of values using called by value, a function when we are calling a value. But if you had printed, I'll run it and show you. If you had printed the statement over here, then you may be seeing that the value of A becomes value of A becomes 20 and value of B becomes 10. Ask like everyone asks one doubt. Let me see what how much you have understood. What all you feel in your mind, you just ask. Otherwise, it will not be clear when I'm moving to the next topic. All understood now. All those who gave me Nas, Rahul, Gerard gave me answer as 10 and 20. Nas, why you told it as 20 and 10? A value. Tell me, Rahul and Mehboob, you told it will be 20 and 10, right? Even though the program is for swapping, I am just explaining the swapping by value, the call by value. Okay. So I hope it is clear. Or if you have any doubts, you tell me. If it is clear, you tell me answer and it is clear. Why all are keeping quiet? Don't think that till now ma'am was teaching function, there is no use of function. Here we are not returning anything. Understood? If you are returning a value, then you may be seeing that a value is changed. We are not returning anything. Understood? Here we are not returning anything. If you are printing this over here, you will be getting that answer. If you are not believing me, I will execute the program and show. All are quiet. Something ma'am is teaching. After teaching everything, now what is the use of function? We have everything. Speaking. Is it the same program? All are seeing the program, right? Here also we have declared the same program only. I have declared the value of A is 10, B value is 20. So here I have given the printf statement, swapping of values A and B, and I'm calling the function called the swap value by value. So it will come over here. So what will happen? The value of 10 will be assigned to this variable A, and value of 20 will be assigned to this variable B. Now we are using a variable called a temp, and we are making a swapping. So ultimately what had happened here, A value will become 20 and B value will become 10. Swapping is happening inside the function, but when if you are giving a statement over here, then you will be seeing that. First I will show if you are not giving it in that function, and if you are giving it in the main, that is after swapping. After swapping, what happened? Nothing happened. It is as it was before. I'll show you how it is. See, are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Value of A is 10, B equal to 20. After swapping, because it is going back to the main, value of
Yes, ma'am.
Value of A is B equal to 20. Okay, so here you have to make sure that we are using using only local variables, right? Here also we are using local variables. Understood? And we are passing only the values, the actual arguments, and here will be our formal arguments. The actual arguments, we are passing in call by reference, we'll be passing the address that I'll explain to you. Here we are just passing the values. Now can you understand? In swap by value function, value after swapping will be, can somebody read? What is the
A is
value?
equal
A equal to 20 and B equal to 10. But if you go back to the main, the last line, no, value after swapping is coming from in. I'll show you. Swapping in main I give, okay? In main function, because we are returning it back, no? So here, no, here we are not returning it back, right? That's why it is showing like that. This is only a program to demonstrate the two types of argument passing. That is, one is call by value. In call by value, we are making a duplicate copy and then doing the swapping over there. And we are not returning. Listen here, we are not returning. In all other programs, you know, we were returning. Understood? That A plus B result and all, no? Result we were returning. Understood? Only one value we can return, but still we were adding A plus B. Some of the two program values and all we have done, right? If you have any doubts, you ask. All are keeping quiet. Okay, so this program you try it at home, and then if you are having any doubts, you ask me. Are you writing the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then write the program. No, mama. Write the program. Anyway, it will be asked for some theory question also. It is an important question. Call by value and call by reference. If you have any doubts, ask. Don't keep quiet like that. No, then it will not be clear. Concept will not be clear. In other programs and all, we were returning the value after doing any thing. Here you have to understand one more thing is like we are declaring A and B as a local variable. Okay. The other complications I'm not telling now because a global variable, when you declare all those things, we will see it later. Here we are just using a local variable and I'm passing the call by value. Using call by value, the arguments are passed. Hope you are writing the program.